Kiko Veneno. Okay, so I'm probably getting the pronunciation of that wrong. Uh, is a Spanish guitarist and singer. In 1975, he formed a band also called Veneno, after him, presumably, and they produced one album, which was also called Veneno. In his career, he did various other albums, had various other bands, and various other collaborations as well. There's not a lot of information, certainly on Wikipedia, about him. And some of the information is other places is in Spanish. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is an album by Kiko Veneno, and the name I'm not going to try and pronounce it in Spanish, but I put it into Google Translate and it said it means "have a little song." There's very little information about this album on Wikipedia. It's briefly mentioned on the Wikipedia page for Kiko Veneno. So I've reviewed one of his albums before, and it was actually the album called Veneno by the band Veneno, led by Kiko Veneno. And that was a while back, but I hadn't remembered that. So when I listened to it, I was listening blind. So what I normally do in my process is that I will normally listen to an album before I read up anything about it, then do the reading up, and then listen to it again. Sometimes, as in this case, actually the reading got delayed because I had opportunities to listen without opportunities to get to the internet. So when I listened, I couldn't remember the previous album, so I couldn't remember who Kiko was, and I wasn't able to identify in my head whether this was Spanish or Brazilian. So we've had quite a lot of Brazilian music on this list, and I've enjoyed a lot of it actually. So the Latin style of rhythms made me think Brazilian. And I was kind of throwing in my head the word samba, although I really don't know the technical difference between most of the different types of Latin rhythms. I think I could identify bossa nova, and that's probably about it. But this is probably better identified as flamenco rock, I would guess. And it's definitely crossed with rock, so it's got that Latin feel. There's quite a lot of rock feel in here as well. It's rich musically, is nicely played, is recorded with a warmth and an openness and obvious enjoyment of the music for its own sake. Sometimes it's got more of the Latin feel than others. Strangely, it reminded me of the simplicity of some of Mark Knopfler's solo stuff. It's not the style, but it's the kind of attitude to recording, this kind of expansive and somewhat kind of, yeah, slightly laid back, but just enjoying the music kind of feel. I especially like the electric guitar in the song Salta La Rana, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong because I often have pronunciation anxiety. Um, uh, with the rhythms in there and the electric guitar, it made it feel quite Santana like, and I do like a bit of Santana. There are occasionally flamenco guitars. There's more percussion than just drums in here. And the singing, but the singing is in Spanish. I don't recognize many words of Spanish. My Spanish is very thin. For some reason, there is one word in Spanish and Portuguese, which seems to be the same word in both, that jumps out at me when I hear it in a song, which is corazon or corazon, which is heart. I don't know why that one particularly jumps out at me, but it does. He's got a nice voice. It's higher than some voices for this type of music that I've come across. It does have a bit of that kind of smoke, which is typical of male Mediterranean voices. I mean, that this kind of feel of smokiness about it. The songs are about, well, I'd say I've got no idea because, of course, the language barrier. There are a few that I picked up the names of, so I could look at the name of En un Mercedes Blanco, and know that means in a white Mercedes. There's also Superheroes de Barrio, and I believe a barrio is a kind of low rent, particular kind of low rent housing district. There was I don't know why I was particularly curious about "Me siento en la cama." I started typing that into Google Translate and got as far as "me siento" and it said "feel." And then when I typed the whole thing in, it said it's I sit on the bed. So I don't know how Masiento goes from feel to sitting on the bed, or if I did something wrong, or if Google Translate is just weird. And I think sometimes it can be. Anyway, back to the album. I enjoyed it. It's musically happy and rich. It's I was listening to it as I was driving, and it's a good driving album. And that it's just it's nice, slightly boppy music. Um, so I had a good time listening. So that's what I think. As always, I'd love to invite you to let me know what you think as well, or any other thoughts you've got about the album. Especially interested in hearing from anybody who knows Spanish and has anything else they want to throw in into the comments here. I do like having a rich comment section under these videos. It's not usually hugely long, but there's often quite a lot of interesting stuff coming. So please do contribute. And that's it from me for now.
Salta la rana, brilla la luna por la ventana.